On this particular Auto One, you can actually press the SOS button and it will make the call to be through a satellite connection as opposed to a cellular connection.
So by the time I got to the Harman booth, I was looking at the theory turn into practice. Harman, which belongs to Samsung since 2017, had just announced a partnership with satellite company Viasat. And they were not just showing slides. They had a working demo in an actual vehicle. Firasat Sidiqqui, Senior Director leading Harman's global portfolio PMO, walked me through it. First question would be about the announcement that you have made here for MWC 2026, which is about your collaboration with Viasat. So could you tell us more about this?
Of course. First of all, thank you very much. We feel that connectivity is a backbone of the in-vehicle cabin experiences that enable a lot of the features that you see today. And that continues to be the case. As a matter of fact, as we're sitting in this Auto One vehicle, we have a significant amount of features and products that on their own would not be functional if you do not have reliable connectivity and ubiquitous connectivity enabled to the vehicle. And of course, it enhances the consumer experience, providing safety, providing a mobility experience that the customer wants to have today.
You have announced this partnership with Viasat, which is obviously a satellite company. So can you tell us more why you are going into this direction?
Absolutely. As I said, from a connectivity perspective, we need to go beyond the cellular range as people are exploring outside of the environment in terms of going into remote regions, whether you're on a family trip through the mountains, family trip to, national parks, and you want to maintain that particular connections, especially when it comes to safety. With respect to Viasat, obviously, Harman's goal is to make sure that we have partnerships on the ecosystem that we're working with. Our goal is to make sure that our products are enhanced through collaboration with reliable partners that are able to enhance those particular experiences, whether it's connectivity or any other feature for that matter. And Viasat is a key partner in that ecosystem.
And so what do they bring? Just the satellite connectivity or more than this?
That's one of the features. So, for example, what we're slowly doing when it comes to connectivity enabled through SATCOMs is starting off with the low end in terms of, let's say, just simply sending out the messages in a condition because the packet sizes of the data transfer that takes place, A, is costly, and B, it takes a little bit of a while. However, as we're continuing to expand, as well as the capabilities of our partners, now we're able to showcase a voice call enabled through those same protocols. So it's a seamless experience that eventually the customer will be able to have, whether it's 4G, 5G, and now SATCOM capability.
So what we are saying is that essentially this is saying we know that the cellular connectivity will never be 100% where the cars will drive. And so satellite is here to fill that gap, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just for safety and security reasons, or you see a pathway where there's going to be more that can be done with satellites than today?
I think that eventually it will come to the point where it will become effectively seamless in terms of whether it's a cellular connection or a SATCOM connection. We're not there yet. It's a process because as more and more satellites are going into the orbit, the overall, let's say the bandwidth expands, you will start to see that. However, at the initial stages, it's basically to make sure that you bridge the gap between the connected versus the unconnected, similar to how it started with 3G and 4G coverage, slowly going from the type of data that was available versus the type of information that you were able to share. Now we watch 4K videos live streaming without any hesitation. There was not a time that was happening. It was, I have to be careful about the information that I download. Now most consumers are very much comfortable with being able to do that without having any type of limitations on their data expectations. Eventually, I think SATCOM will get there too.
Yesterday, there was a keynote from BMW where they were showing their roadmap from a connectivity standpoint, and they were showing how they would evolve from cellular only to cellular plus what they call NTN, which means satellite essentially. Do you see this as a major trend in the automotive industry to have this NTN capability?
We believe so. NTN, or the non-terrestrial network capability. More and more automakers want to be able to have, again, they very much rely or pivot on the safety aspect first.
The safety, because what does that enable that you wouldn't have if you don't have this satellite connectivity? The fact that the car cannot send your position, for instance, in case of a crash or something like this?
Absolutely. So especially in areas where you don't have effective or enough cell tower coverage, just imagine taking a ski trip through the Alps. There are chances are, or through Black Forest, there are going to be spots where you're going to be losing your cellular connection, or it's going to be significantly degraded to the point where you're not able to do that. And really, that's where the satellite coverage is able to bridge that gap, especially safety being the key aspect. God forbid somebody's in a crash and they're not able to send out a notification, or the vehicle is not able to send that notification because current vehicles work on the same cellular network that your mobile device does.
Yeah.
So if you don't have mobile device coverage, you also don't have vehicle coverage either. That's really where this comes in. On this particular Auto One, we're actually demonstrating this particular technology as to how it's able to do that. It's a functional communication. You can actually press the SOS button and it will make the call to be through a satellite connection as opposed to a cellular connection.
You have been partnering with Viasat. Obviously, there are other satellite providers, one of them being Starlink. How does that work? Do you need to have, or let me ask the question differently, from a technical standpoint, any device that you have can connect to either satellite connection, or how does that work? Do you need to have a specific technology or specific protocol in your devices and ready connect the device you have to access a given satellite network? How does that work?
At the high level, that's exactly how this works in terms of the capability. Eventually, it will come to the point where you would have kind of similar to what you would see on your cellular device, right? You may have one carrier as a primary. However, when you go into the roaming mode, it's able to ping and connect to the other networks. Eventually, it will come to that as well, where you will be able to leverage other satellites. But again, that's where the differentiation comes in terms of the type of cellular satellite communication network capability that you will have in the environment. It's part of the evolution. As the technology continues to grow, how they will be able to latch onto the different communication networks and provide that coverage. Thank you very much for your time, and glad to be able to part of this conversation.
Thank you so much, Firasat. Remember that behind every dashboard and every feature lies a human story, and those are the stories we are committed to uncovering here on Under the Hood. I'm Stéphane Lagresle. Thanks for listening.